The Style Method podcast, helping you avoid fashion disasters one sassy tip at a time. Celebrity and high-end personal stylist Amy Salinger dives into style wins, fashion fails, and closet confessions with women of all shapes, budgets, and lifestyles. Expect expert tips, unfiltered advice, and maybe a little tough love, all in the name of great style. It's time to unlock your signature look. Welcome to the Style Method podcast, where it is real talk, real style, really you. I am your host, Amy Salinger, celebrity and high-end personal stylist, and of course, founder of the Style Method system. And today, I am talking to a genuine badass. Her name is Kelsea Kenrick, and she self-described is a business advisor, strategic thought partner, speaker, wife, and multimillionaire mother of 3. She, like I said, she's a badass. Let's lean into that. And today we're going to be talking about fashion as strategy. How does what you wear, your personal brand, how you put it all out there, level you up? And how do you lean into your authentic self at the same time? We get into the idea of like, okay, we're in business now. Let's put on a blazer. And Kelsea learned, just like I did, that's not necessarily what represents me in my business. I love a blazer every now and then, and so does she, but not every day. Kelsea shows that you can wear anything as long as it represents you and as long as you feel strong, confident, and powerful in it. Get ready for it. This girl is rocking a crop top and lots of tattoos. I'm here for it. And it's a fantastic conversation. Thank you. And here we are. Today, I have Kelsea Kenrick, who is honestly a guest that I've been very looking forward to having on because she's a badass in her own right. And she's here to lend some of that badassery advice to all of you. Welcome to the show, Kelsea.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Glad we can make it work.
I'm glad we could make it work. As always, we were having full disclosure, and by we, I mean me. Crazy technical difficulties leading into this, but like two badass women do, we make it happen, we push through, and we're on to the other side. So I would love to start actually with your story, with learning a little bit more about you, but through like a slightly different lens than what I typically do. I want to hear all about your style, but about how you show up for what you're building based on your style and kind of how you do that personally.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting question, like through the lens of style. So because what I do is very, very in-depth in my clients' businesses. So I am an advisor for mom founders. And so I come in to businesses that are very successful externally, that are generating revenue, have a profit in place, but something feels off or the woman herself that's leading the business is kind of falling apart. So marriage can be strained, relationships are failing, health is put on the back burner just because they've built something that's taken all of them. And so I come in and redo their infrastructure and help them with their leadership and their communication so that they can have a highly profitable business that isn't owner dependent. And I think because what's interesting is that when it comes to style, I remember early on in my career, because what I do is so serious, right? It's a very big deal, right? To be in somebody's business, to help them make sure that they have the right vessel that can provide the life that they want, to be in the nitty gritty, to be, my clients are being vulnerable and transparent and crying, and they have all this pressure and financial pressure, and they're running teams, and it's a lot, right? And so I think that I felt a lot of pressure in my earlier stages of presenting myself as a professional, which I think for most people is like, let's just blazer it. We're just going to do blazers.
Exactly. It doesn't necessarily represent you. I always say people right out of college that are getting into like corporate world, they're like, where's the closest Brooks Brothers? And I'm like, take a step back, people.
Yeah.
Like Brooks Brothers is not for everybody. And honestly, step away, please.
Yeah. So I think, thinking about my style and like how it's represented now, it's to me, the internal and the external should be congruent, right? And so that's what I do in people's businesses is like, I want you to feel as successful as like the money that your business is generating. And so for me, in congruency in my style was really about developing acceptance in myself because I am very tattooed. I have a nose ring. I wear hoops. Like those are my signature. I love hip hop. Like I cuss a lot and like, that's just who I am. And so
I joke that I chose this career, working with individuals because I was not going to be told I couldn't swear. And I feel really good about that.
Yeah. So I think my comfortability in representing myself comes through in my style to where it is sometimes a little funky, sometimes it is casual, but I am a former athlete and competitor. And so there's all these different parts of me that I'm like, I don't want to be just this one lane, like just me in a blazer all day. That's fucking boring, if I'm being honest. And so I do love a good blazer. But I think through the style lens, bringing that all back together, I think through the style lens, it's really cool because my style has evolved the more permission I've given myself to just be fully myself and that be enough.
I live for that last statement. That's what my whole business is about, is that I say to people, like, your style is about leaning into being authentically you, but like the best version of you. So whatever makes you feel most like yourself, most confident, like we're going to take that from the inside and we're going to put it on the outside. And throwing on the uniform of a blazer because you are now working with other professionals, if you will, that's just an antiquated thought. It's not representative of what the world is about today. Not to mention, you're an entrepreneur yourself, running your own business as a mom. Like you're representing the people that you're working with. And so I think it absolutely gives them permission to lean into who they authentically are. I need to call out your outfit for those that are listening and not, watching YouTube. First off, immediately go to stylemethodpodcast.com, go to the YouTube link. Girl, do you want to describe your outfit or should I jump in? Because it is giving me life. To be honest with you.
I think you should describe it. I think you should just go for it.
It's always fun to hear how someone else would describe your outfit, especially a stylist. All right, let's start with the fact that you are wearing a full-blown crop top. Like underneath the boob crop top, we have got amazing abs being shown off. Just middle of the day style with all the tats hanging out, which by the way, is I've never seen Kelsea, but I've done a lot of emailing and I had zero idea what you actually looked like until we got on this Zoom. And I was like, oh, hell yes, bitch. I love everything about it. I love an individual style and especially one that surprises me because like I knew what you did. I knew all about your business. I know all about kind of the platform that you help, how you help women with their businesses. And 100%, girl, in the best way possible. I did not expect you to look like this when I got on Zoom. And that is like, let's clap it out. Let's clap it out because it is encouraging for other people. There is also oversized black frame glasses, huge hoops. I mean, it's a look and I love it. And I really do think there is such power as you're showing right now in how you dress, in what you put out there, because you're saying, be bold, be yourself. This is who I am. And this is what I'm going to show you basically when I meet you. I mean, I'm here for it, girl. I
just love the mix of like things I love. And it's kind of, again, everything is like fully who I am. And so even in the way that I'm like coaching in business, I love to just break people's brains and be like, what if we put these two things that don't traditionally go together? Because I have an unconventional story. The way that I got here was rebuilding my life from rock bottom. Like and so girl, mixing things together to where I'm like, let me put some accessories with this workout outfit. It's fun for me of like, these two things wouldn't traditionally go together. Let's make them anyways.
The juxtaposition, as I like to call it, where it's like the unexpected twist. How did you come to this position in life, to start this business, to be this person? Because it sounds like there's definitely a story there.
Yeah, it's definitely most people would think that you see a lot of people that advise on businesses, especially successful businesses, and you have like your big people that people follow that have generated millions and built and scaled companies. And like that, my story actually was also from a rock bottom moment where I had to rebuild. And I spent, 10 years of my life in self-destructive patterns, drinking, partying, working in hospitality, and ended up getting arrested 3 times. And so my third arrest was where that's what woke me up. That was my opportunity for change. It was like, you can either continue down this path and you're not going to be here for much longer, or we can choose something different. And so I think everything that I do lies in the anchor of personal responsibility of like, you are the creator of your life. You are the creator of your destiny, and you make the choices that get you there. And so I basically just built from there. So it was really like, my evolution in business has been a mirror of my own story. And so I started in therapy, I got a life coach, and then I started going to the gym, and I saw this beautiful connection between the mental and the physical. And so then I jumped into the health industry. I'm a former competitive powerlifter, a former figure pro. So I was competing, just went full throttle as any like former like addictive personality would. Mm-hmm. And then in these conversations, I started building this business because people are like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? People were just watching my story and wanted to come closer. And so I was coaching people. I built this huge online business. We opened a powerlifting gym local to us. And it just was, again, just a mirror of my own story. And I just kept sharing like what I was doing and how I was doing it and the lessons I was learning and how I was failing. And people were really drawn to that. And so it just naturally scaled really, really big. And I was having conversations behind the scenes with all these women, because as we know, as women, like the conversation isn't about like, why did we fall off our nutrition this week? The conversation is what stressors are causing, like what conversations are you not having? What avoidance is happening? Why are you not happy? Like, and I was having those conversations because I am such a root cause person of like, the things that we see in our business now. For example, like client call today, she had the symptom that she's experiencing is she's experiencing resentment in her business and stuff keeps falling back on her plate. Underneath that is fear of confrontation and communication. So she's avoiding asking for the things that she needs. So I've always been like, what's the real problem here? And so in asking those kind of questions, coaching just was very natural to me. And then I got life coaching certified. By this time, I had built this really successful business. So then it was like this cascade of people asking me, well, how are you doing it? What are you doing? And I was just sharing and sharing and sharing my story. And then I had my son. And I was like, oh shit, like, how do I do both? Like, I know how to work all the time. I know how to make my life be my business. I don't know how to do that and be a present mom, because I didn't have a present mom. And so then I went down this path, because he's almost 10 now, of like literally Googling, because there was nothing. I'm like, how do you run a business with a child? Nothing. So I was like, well, I guess like everything else, I'm just going to figure this shit out by myself. So I started, because I didn't, personal preference, I didn't want to put him in daycare. I wanted him to be home with me. I didn't want the traditional model of like, okay, you get 6 weeks, take him to daycare, go back to corporate kind of. I didn't want that. I was like, I created this business so I could create my life. Right. So long story short, that like wake up moment of having him and having the business was where I was like, what are all of the other moms doing and who's supporting them? Because I don't want to choose between my ambition and my children or my life. I want all of it. And so what does that need to look like? And that's how I got into building the right infrastructure that can support a highly profitable business without the owner dependency, so that you can have both. So it's all been trial and error and failing and experimentation and me plugging into my business and then working with women across all industries.
I love everything about that. I think, well, first off, the universe is definitely on your side, but it's not just that the universe is on your side. You said something that really resonated with me, which is like, you are the creator of your universe. Like, yes, the universe delivers things to you. And I often think that when you're open, you're able to see what the universe is delivering to you. It's not always that the universe isn't handing you things. It's that you're not even prepared to receive them. And, I very much believe and agree with you that you're the one creating your life, and you can't rely on other people and other situations and other things to create that. And part of creating that is understanding what would make you happy in your lifestyle? Like you started this business and obviously you weren't feeling like the badass that you are in those blazers. I mean, I love a blazer every now and then, but it's certainly not the uniform because there is no such thing as a uniform. For me, at least. I love to play around. I love to lean into who do I feel like being today? Who's my audience? Where am I going? What's the weather? And then you get to play with your style adjectives in that, like using those questions to figure out who do you feel like being that day? Because you can wake up and be anybody through the power of clothing, or at least be the most powerful version of those sides of you. So that leads me to ask, what did you get as your style adjectives?
Oh, I got minimalist and casual.
Okay. And guess what, everybody? There are 4 questions and you got minimalist and casual, either one or the other for all 4 of them, which means you're a very strong casual minimalist, if you will, because it's pretty rare that people only get 2. But all that says to me is that's how much you are in touch with yourself and understanding who you authentically are. It also means that the quiz worked, which always makes me super happy. So I want to know, do you see yourself as minimalist and casual? And how does that play out in your work life, your mom life, your going out life, all the things?
I would say yes, but kind of like we were discussing before, I think it depends. Right? Yeah. Like that's what I was running into is like, I think for me, I'm always like, I want some context around this. Like even when I was taking the quiz, I was like, well, where am I going?
Oh, no, you know? That's the point. That's the whole point, is that you're the way the style method works and the way this particular quiz is meant to work is that the base is of your style existence, if you will, your style filter is going to be your style adjective. So you're minimal and casual. Then when we get to the next level, we start to do, which we're going to jump into, the outfit equation. And you use these 4 things, identifiers, we'll say, to build the outfit using your style adjectives. So for example, it's going to be location. Say you have an upcoming event, and we're gonna jump into this, so there's no confusion. I'm gonna teach you how to use these style adjectives.
Yes, I am speaking for a mastermind in California in like 3 weeks.
Okay, so let's start with location, California. Where in California are we going to be?
Newport Beach.
Newport Beach. All right, little laid back, little beachy, but well, this will lead us actually into the next question. Who's the audience at this mastermind?
Women business owners.
Women business owners. Anything, is it as broad as that, or is there something a little bit more specific about it? And it's okay if it's broad. I'm just curious.
It's broad. They're all industries.
All industries. Okay. Then activity, speaking. Are you on a stage? Are we sitting? Are we standing? Are we mic'd up? What's the scenario?
Great question. I don't know that. I don't think there's a stage. I'm presenting there's like 30 women in this mastermind. So it's a more intimate event.
That is super important information. So we're going to assume there's more of like a circle setting or rows of chairs. Yeah. Rows of chairs. And you're going to be standing in front of them. But it's definitely the intimate element is super important. It changes footwear, it changes the bottom half of what you can wear because you're not on a stage. I usually tell people not to wear skirts are a pain in the ass when you're doing a panel on a stage because there's all different angles that might happen from lower down. So I usually tend to avoid that. So we've got location, Newport Beach. Weather isn't that important because you're going to be inside, but that is one of the 4 elements of the outfit equation that I usually touch upon. But you're going to be in an air-conditioned building, and outside is what, like 75, 80?
I haven't even looked. I'm in Florida, so opposite coast.
Opposite coast, got it. It's usually a like drier but more warm situation. So we have Newport Beach, we have 75, 80, but inside air conditioning. Activity is an intimate mastermind, and the audience is female entrepreneurs. Using your style adjectives of minimal and casual is where you're going to roll into the mastermind. How do you want to present yourself? You're going in there, you're the boss, right? You're the speaker. So you want to inevitably come across as the star of the show is one way to put it. We want you to stand out and we want you to be able to represent your brand, but to have people go, oh, that's the woman who's doing the mastermind. Oh, that's the woman who's speaking to us. So you will stand out amongst these 30 women. That the minimalist element, that's easy, meaning like even doing something monochromatic, even doing something that's elevated, not too over the top, but presents a powerful front. This is when I would lean into a blazer, to be honest with you. I mean, I am 100% not mad at like I say power suit. Now let's not imagine the 80s here. Let's imagine more of a monochromatic going down. It's very elegant. It's very elevated. It's very modern, but it does have that powerful, badass side to it, which I think is going to be super important to you. Don't leave out the casual elements. The casual elements would be like your hoops are your thing, right? Lean into these types of things. I want you to be authentic to yourself and be grabbing for things that you are comfortable with. How do you feel? Because it's definitely not casual, but it could be minimal in a bit more of a heel. Or are you comfortable roaming around in flats? You strike me as a heel person in an event such as this.
Yeah, I usually will wear heels. Like that's the only time I wear them. I also recently, because I have events that I run called City Girls, and we have 3 more cities. We're going Atlanta, Nashville, and DFW. And it's a 2-day event that I do. And so on the dinner, I wore a suit that has like a lace underneath, a big giant lace blazer, and then lace pants, like all matching sets in my love language for sure.
So basically I hit the nail on the head already with the idea of that.
Yeah. So I wore heels then. And then the next day I wore a sleeveless blazer, but one that comes like down low, and then a sheer skirt with a belt.
Oh my God.
And I wore it with my leopard sneakers because it was all black.
Girl, I'm loving everything about this. I think that all of these are phenomenal looks, and definitely still like you have such an edginess about you. You're minimal and casual. I would throw in a little bit of the edge as well, which is another style adjective to mix in there. And like that can be more, especially at a more professional-esque type of mastermind, that can come in through the accessories. I always say to people, when you're going somewhere, but you're not sure what style adjective to lean into, I always go with like, first off, what's making you feel most comfortable? Like you're not going to do a fully edgy outfit from top to bottom if you're going to host a mastermind, but that doesn't mean you can't still have the elements of edge and throw in through your accessories these pieces, or even just the way it's styled. A zhuzh sleeve pushed up, a really funky like studded belt. Like there are different ways to bring this in and still feel like yourself. It's like a costume that's still you is the best way to describe it. So you have to imagine that like, yes, you are authentically you. You're building the outfit around what makes you feel confident, but you can always lean in to try something a little bit outside of what makes you feel specifically like you. Like I'll give an example. If I'm going to like a baby shower, like I'm not an A-line floral type of girl, but I could put on a costume for a day and then throw my waist length leather bomber over it and like add my edge to the like more florally version of Amy. There's so many different ways to play it up. Wait, do you own leather bombers? I feel like that is like, could be where your life is at.
I do. I have like some leather shorts. I have a leather skirt.
And you're in Florida, which is so funny because people would think that it's all like bright. And I always remind people that live in Florida don't live in a coral universe. Like they actually live much more in reality. And like winter, for us, it's like we're wearing puff coats, but they're still wearing dark colors when it's like 75 because that's your winter. People forget these things. So I want to really get into really quickly at the end here. I want to talk about basically the strategy of appearance and how you discuss this with your clients. You know, it's obviously not just you and what your brand is and what you're representing at this mastermind, but how you discuss appearance as part of that strategy for your clients when they are building out their businesses. How do you believe it helps with brand? I love that I'm saying helps with, that's leading. But the truth is that what you wear on the outside is part of the bigger package. So I'm curious about how you process that with your clients. And we already know how you process it with yourself.
Yeah, I don't have conversations about like my client's style particularly The only time actually it will come into play is I do run a retreat for my private clients annually, and we do like branding photos, and I will push them a little bit on their style for those photos. But I think for me, when I think about everything, again, it's like the internal, and to where like you need to be focusing on your health. You need to be drinking enough water. You need to take lunch breaks. You have to prioritize your mental and physical well-being. And so what I see is like when we shift schedules and shift the business around to where they have time and space to be able to do that, oftentimes like they will start to show up differently in our calls, whether it's like them actually getting dressed for the day or them putting makeup on. And I'm pretty transparent with them of like, I get ready in 20 minutes. I actually, for as high maintenance as I may look, I do a lot of other stuff so I can be low maintenance, like Botox, eyelashes, good skincare, red light mask. I'm doing all that shit. So it takes me 20 minutes to get ready.
Right. I love that. I love the transparency because I discuss this with people all the time as far as like, yes, there is a lot of levels of like, okay, what am I going to do to keep myself, quote unquote, looking a certain way? And I'm like, it all has to do with what your level of comfort is. For me, waking up, getting dressed, I mean, I'm extra fabulous right now because you and I are doing a podcast. But in general, my life is very much like sneakers, some level of jeans, maybe a t-shirt, a leather bomber. Like the reality of my life is very different than the zhuzh that it used to be in New York City. But that doesn't mean that I don't wake up and confidently pick out an outfit every day because it changes my mindset. I don't make it something that, again, like you said, takes a million hours. I don't have that kind of time, man. I got a 4-year-old. I'm running him to school. I got to run a business, all the things. I have the 20 minutes, like you said. So I focus on what is important to me. I mean, you obviously leaned into understanding your own style and recognizing that running for that blazer is not necessarily the uniform you're going to go for. And you've come out the other side, successful, badass yourself, mom that runs a great business and wears a crop top with amazing oversized black glasses. I love that. It's totally representative. But what I want my listeners to know, which is be authentically you, lean into what you truly are, and you will come out the other side feeling way more confident. I genuinely appreciate you coming on the podcast today. Thank you so much for sharing your really amazing story. It definitely is inspiring, and I hope that it inspires other people.
Yeah, I'm glad we could make it happen. And I think it's fun to be able to have these kinds of conversations, and just the reminder of like we're putting effort into.
That was a beautiful way to put it. Where can people find out more about you and learn more about you?
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Instagram. It's just my name. So you probably need to put that in the show notes.
Well, we'll have it flash on the screen so people know exactly what's going on.
Spelling my name can be a nightmare, even as somebody who's had this last name for almost 14 years. So but I hang out primarily on Instagram. I'm on all the platforms though. That's just the one where I tend to show up the most.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Kelsea. I genuinely appreciate you taking time to come on the podcast, and good luck at the mastermind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was such an amazing conversation. I feel so honored to be in the orbit of badass women, and so many takeaways from Kelsea and so many things to learn. Mostly that once you lean into your authentic self and really start pushing yourself down the path of like, what do I love? What do I want to be? How am I going to make that happen? What lifestyle do I want? How do I want to show up for that lifestyle in my own wardrobe? And things start happening and the universe provides. I want you to listen to more of these powerful conversations. I want you to be inspired. StyleMethodPodcast.com. You can go hear all the episodes, and of course, follow us at Style Method Co. That's CO on any of the social media platforms. And I would be really honored if you've left a little review down there. Hit us up with a 5-star. What do you love about the Style Method podcast? What is inspiring you? It helps me to help as many people as possible. Have a fabulous day, and I will catch you next time on the Style Method podcast.